to try to make sure we can get the things passed that we need to. If you've never been before, it's a great time to let your voice be heard and help protect the industry. So I strongly encourage going and checking that out. Then the GRRA Member Appreciation Social is on June 9th. Our next GRRA-RCA IRM collaborative event is June 23rd with the Mayor panel. That's going to be, and we do have confirmed for that. We have the Burlington, Greensboro, and Winston mayors all on board for that. You know, that's always a big one, and so make sure to be out there for that. Then our next one, the collaborative event, is August 25th, is the Economic Development panel. So make sure to check that one out. And I'd like to go ahead and bring on up our speaker here, Mr. Jack Peterson, from the Account Manager in Industry Relations for RPR. Come on in. Give him a welcome.
Thank you so much. Hey everybody, good afternoon. How are you? Good. I'm doing well. Happy to be here. I am surprised to come north from Atlanta and have it be hotter here. So typically we are the hot place, but happy to be here. I hope that you guys get some good insights out of this today and learn something. I am an account manager with RPR and specifically with the Greensboro Triad MLS area. So hopefully we'll see you guys a little bit more often as I come back for some other things. So today really wanted to focus a bit about RPR on the commercial side, as well as some of the AI-powered new insights that we have been putting out over the last few years here and really ramped up within the last 6 months. You know, we realize that when people think of RPR, they think of realtors. They don't think so much as the institute affiliates that are also allowed and able to use this platform, which has so many different databases that are brought into it to give you amazing insights, especially, and possibly save you some money. I know that especially on the commercial side, it's a hefty price to get into the space and stay in the space, and there is a way to be able to use some of the data that comes in from a lot of those different places all into RPR in one place. I do love it to be kind of an interactive type of conversation. You know, please ask your questions. I'm going to do a bit of a slideshow and then go into the platform itself. So if you guys have questions, have comments, anything like that, please feel free. You know, I don't want this to be just me speaking at you for the next half hour or so. So RPR in general is a national parcel-centric database that brings in residential, land, and commercial properties all into one space. It is built for realtors and institute affiliates. There is no consumer access to it. However, there are ways that you can send the information to your clients, but it is a tool for you to be able to be the experts that you are and find better data than the general consumer might be able to find. You are the experts, and that's what we want to make sure that you are. And the reason why we chose to be no consumer access is that we want you guys to have the tools to help provide resources and the expertise for you. And again, this is offered at no additional charge over your realtor membership. And you know, your realtor membership, it comes out to be about $1 a month in comparison to some of the other tools that are used out in the space. I mean, it's pretty great. So in general, with RPR Commercial, there are over 400,000 off-market commercial properties for lease around the country, over 800,000 on-market properties for sale, and over 58,000 off-market commercial properties. We really like to say this because of the fact that we are a data aggregator and bringing in information from places like Crexi, Brevitas, Moody's, ICSC, and a plethora of others that I'll show a little bit more of, but not just a residential platform. How people are using RPR, there is a really great QR code with a full blog of 50 ways that people use RPR. tons of different things. Think a little bit outside the box than just your searching properties, getting some data. We've got trade area analysis, which I'm going to kind of go a little heavy and deep into, which especially has some new AI tools that we have really loved, and the people who are using it often have seen a lot of value out of it. The realtor valuation model, which is proprietary to RPR, however, it is powered using off-market, on-market, and public record data all together to get that number. We've got the mobile app, which I don't know if you guys are using the mobile app right now, but something that I love to say is that when you are using the desktop, whether you're using the desktop or the mobile, everything syncs back and forth. You can pull a report on your computer. 5 minutes later, you're out on the road, pull it up on there. Vice versa, be out on a property, pull something up, and it syncs back to the desktop. So we want to make sure that it is very user-friendly for you in the way that you work. School reports, school attendance zones, traffic counts, as well as CMAs and seller reports that you can pull, among many other things. So for us, especially what I really want to talk about today are the trade area and economic statistics, as well as the shareable market trends that you guys have available to you. So with this, RPR starts out as a deed, tax, and mortgage history alongside public record data platform. That is where we started, and that was 16 years ago. And where we have gone today is exponential from where that is. However, the basis of what we started on is all of that information, which a lot of other places don't have. So we love to be able to give you the best and most information that we can possible through some really amazing partners that have come along throughout the years. Mapping data, school neighborhood insights, and listing data. I'd love to see a show of hands of who all only does commercial here in the room. And who is dual practitioners here? I love it, I love it. So, I think that what's really great about this is you'll find reasons why to use and how to use this product on either way, as well as being able to find information that even if you are only residential, you find commercial. If you're only commercial, you'll find residential insights, and vice versa. And so kind of bring your head out a little bit of knowing that when you see the word residential or you see the word commercial, take a little deeper look into both of them, because you'll find insights into either part that will be helpful to you. So a little bit about our partners. We get for sale and for lease data by Crexi, Brevitas, CompStack, ICSC, Moody's, Land Broker Co-op, a few others, and some of these have been just amazing, amazing partners to us, and this is kind of the foundation of where we get a lot of our data. Built on top of that, we have a partnership with ICE where we get our off-market properties. This is so helpful, again, for that realtor valuation model to understand and put a better picture onto what is the actual number that we're coming to and what is the confidence score that we have attached to it. I love to point out Esri specifically for my commercial people. So Esri is an amazing, amazing partner that we have done so much work with them over the last 8 years to bring in site selection, trade area demographics, statistics, and commercial site selection to be able to get such a robust platform into our system here. Valuate, is anybody familiar with Valuate? So Valuate has some really, really great insights into investor analysis. You can download spreadsheets, anything from renovation costs to if you raise the rent on a tenant or if you add another tenant. It can do that valuation for you to help be able to give that to whether it is an investor, you're working with an auto shop owner, or some economic developers in the area. You can use that data to help back up some of the information that you're finding and why you would pitch certain properties over another. Now, climate check, SMR research, and then the US Census Bureau also are amazing for bringing in some more information into the system And one thing that is not on here is we also have FEMA flood maps in ours. So when you're going through the maps, you can find the flood zones. I'm not sure if you guys deal with flood zones very much here, if it's around the lake or something maybe. But FEMA, we have a partnership with them where they feed us data into understanding flood zones onto the maps themselves. So the top 5 uses for RPR commercial is going to be searching for on and off market properties, researching the points of interest and traffic patterns, as well as traffic counts, finding current and historical property data, the trade areas, which like I said, I'm going to go pretty hard into because it is such amazing, amazing data in there, economic, demographic, and tapestry data. And then lastly, being able to find the best locations for a business using the commercial site selection information. So in these reports, you'll find things like the economic growth of an area, housing demand, housing affordability, as well as consumer spending behavior. Something that I find really, really interesting about the trade area information is it's the who, what, why, when, where. Are people doing things? Are they purchasing things? Are they moving around? Who's coming in and out of your area? This is especially helpful when you're talking to investors or economic developers to understand, what is the movement like in your local market. So in general, when you go to look in RPR, you can look at it by county, by township, by census bureau, zip code, city, even actually state, and then census block group. So, as broad as you want to go or as honed in as you want, this is all available for you. Neighborhood as well. Like I said, engaging with clients, city planning, chamber of commerce, things like that. So right here, I could go through the slides, but I would actually prefer to actually go into the system and show it live for you guys. This is a little bit about some of the new AI and how to find certain things in the system. So when you log into RPR, whether that is through Triad, through another system, or using just your regular login, you'll get into this main homepage. For today, I added in my market being Greensboro in general, but I'm happy to dig a little bit deeper, whether it is a zip code or a tract specifically that you guys are interested. I'd love to show that to you guys. So one big thing is you want to make sure when you're looking at commercial is hitting that little toggle button to commercial. It starts out as residential. So yes, you can find commercial information through residential, but do a quick toggle to that commercial and you'll be set for the entire duration of your utilization of the system. Down here, you'll see the guided tours. So our marketing team has done a really great job of whether you're new to the system, if there's a new part of the system, what you could do at any time is click on one of these guided tours, and what they will do is it will step-by-step show you how to get the information that you're doing through a journey. So you click 1, it'll say, all right, enter the area that you're looking for. All right, 2, you're going to do commercial trade area. Click this button, and it'll walk you through rather than having to read through a tutorial or sit through an hour-long webinar to find out what you're looking for. It's right there on demand for you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the research tab, which is probably my favorite of them all. And I'm going to go down to commercial trade areas. Yes, sir.
So when you search there, like if you're searching a location like Greensboro, it's going to syndicate from Kirksey, Brevitas, Moody's, the whole list?
All of them. Yep.
Does it reverse? Like, is there a way to enter it through that? Does it show up on the list?
We are not a replacement for an MLS or one of those, so we will pull in from them, but we cannot add properties through RPR. Great question. Thank you so much. So I would love to hear a zip code from somebody. 27407. All right. So from here, there are a few things that you can do. Now, it'll give you a quick snapshot of the trade area summary that you will pull in a report that I'll show you a little bit later, but you get a quick snapshot here. And all of these things are able to be shared, whether you are looking at just this little snapshot. You can share this out. If you scroll a bit down, you'll find further demographics. You can change it by population. Let's say it is by income, education. All of these things are quick ways to find some of the information that you're looking for if you don't want to pull a straight report, if you're just looking for something quick. Now, as you go down a little bit, you'll find consumer segmentation, which we have been honing in on for the last 8 years, like I said, with Esri, which is amazing, amazing information of that who, what, why, when, where. Specifically for this area, we see that the largest demographic here, it goes the largest left to right, is the young and restless. So they are contemporary households, they are urban core and suburb, they are typically living in multi-unit complexes, and they are singles living alone or married couples. As you go through this, you can find some more, it will hone in more on some of the information as we pull a report that I'll show you here shortly. Now, one part that I really love about this too is from a quick glimpse, what it will do is it will take the surrounding areas and give you a quick snapshot of, let's say you have a potential buyer who is interested specifically in this zip code, right? But as you're looking around, you see some of these demographics and some of this information, and you say, oh, it looks like maybe 27403 might be a little bit better for the type of property that you're looking for in the area that it is. So from here, you can either view listings or again, share this out. So real quick, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit create report. We'll do the trade area template. You can name this whatever you would like, if it is for a specific person or if you're just running it for yourself. I'll just go and hit continue. And down on here, and one thing I really like to point out is you'll see the RPR logo. We have something called broker tools. So if you guys are enrolled in it, which is at no cost, it is basically having your broker come in and say, hey, we would like to enroll in this. Here's our logo, here's our brokerage information, here are some of our affiliates, and here is our office address. What it will do is replace all of the RPR logos and everything to be specifically branded for your brokerage. So when you pull this, it looks like you went out and found all of this data yourself through your brokerage and pulled it for that consumer. So one quick thing that I like to point out, and I'll pull up the broker tools a little bit later to show you how to do that, and it's pretty easy. So from here, you've got the map. It pulls in all of your profile information, and then a bit more of that trade area summary. So I showed you a little bit from those cards themselves, but you'll see a little bit more data as well as, you know, the home ownership percentage. And I'll zoom in a little bit more in here. So we'll go with these first two, young and restless and middle ground. So from here, it even goes down to lifestyle patterns. So you've got, in that young and restless, consumers frequent convenience stores and often grab fast food or order in. They maintain essential auto and renter's insurance and may forego health insurance if not provided by their health employer. Provided by their employer. Secondly is going to be the middle ground area, and these people are residents who tend to shop at discount grocery chains, frequent fast food restaurants, and they tend to finance their vehicles through loans. You know, some of this information, it starts to get into the who, what, why, when, there. This is a snapshot. As you continue to scroll down, you will see a further explanation into each of those segmentations. So their lifestyle patterns, their housing and employment, key statistics for them, and who they are, what they do. Now, this is especially helpful for when you are trying to find, obviously an area. Maybe you're going into an opportunity zone and you want to know what are the people like in that area, what kind of spending habits do they have, to be able to back up why you would suggest a certain property to your buyer. Now, as we scroll down a little bit more into what I showed in those first cards before I went in to create the report, but it's just got more information in there. So I'll go to income, and you've got, based on the marital status of them, you've got information on the county versus the state versus the local area in the zip code. Different things that are super, super helpful in information pulled in from all of those different sites that I showed you, the CRRA, Brevitas, Moody's, Esri, all of those things put into one platform without having to go to 5, 6 different platforms to find all the same information and pull it into one report. So from here, there are 2 really cool things that you can do. So one is your typical download and send it off to whoever your client is, right? Now, secondly is this share button. Now, what I love to point out about this share button, yes, you can share it to social, yes, you can email it out to somebody, but this dynamic link here. So this dynamic link, what it's going to do is it will refresh the data every 48 hours up to a year since you pulled it. So as of today, what I would do is, let's say that you had this on your broker's website, or let's say you had it embedded in your email of a specific area that you farm, right? What I would do is I would put the dynamic link. Every time that somebody goes and clicks on that, it will refresh the data and look like you've been pulling it every 2 days. And just set a reminder on your calendar for what would be May 18th of next year to redo this link. It's one of those set and forget type of things where people can constantly see that you're the expert in the area that you are without having to do the extra lift of pulling this for every single person. So I'm going to go back one step to where we found the commercial trade area, and this is where I'm going to dive into the AI insights that are new within the last year to RPR. So we have that create report in the print option, but you'll see the AI script writer. So the AI script writer is something that we had tons of people asking for, specifically of, okay, this data is great, but how can I speak to it? Depending on the audience that I have, depending on the tone that I have, right? So what we did is we pulled in all of this information, and our AI model is based solely on Esri data and our data, so it is not scraping the internet and getting junk from every possible place you can think of. It is specifically trained on the information that we have in our system. Now, I'm sorry, you in the blue polo who asked the question, what's your name? Scott. Scott, thank you so much. As Scott asked, he's saying, the information that you guys pull in, can you put it out? We can't put a listing in through our system, but because we get data feeds from all of these commercial partners that we have, it is consistently updated every single day. So with this, let's say that you are going to go with a direct and bold tone, and your audience, you've got all of these different choices. You've got investors and developers, you've got economic development agencies, you've got city planners, industry and local media, various different ways that you can choose the audience that you want to present this information for, and it will slightly tweak it to make sure that the information that you're providing and the way that you're providing it hits the right chord as you're speaking to them. So I'm going to go with specifically franchisees and national chains. Now, there's a few different ways that you can present this information. There is the one-page summary, which I always find is a great way for, we've got the client email, one-page summary. I would choose the one-page summary. Why? I just think it has a little bit more robust robust information. Client email, not bad at all. But especially when you're trying to provide as much information as possible to these people as to why you would choose certain things over another, I would go with the one-page summary. Detailed reports are amazing for economic developers as well as investors. And then third, into the PowerPoint presentation. It will bring in all of the data that you have, statistics, some of the language of the who, what, why, when, where, and be able to start a presentation for you, especially when, I know sometimes it's like social media where, yeah, you kind of have to do it, but where do you jump off of, right? Presentation. How am I going to start off from somewhere? It can be a jumping off point for you, right? Social video is great, especially for if you're just trying to keep your name out there. We'll pull in all the information. It's a quick download and send, and then a social media card. So I'll show you real quick, one-page summary, generate content. And right here, you've got multiple ways to do this. So you can send it in a text, you can email it, you can export it as a PDF or a Word document. What this is saying is in the 27407, it stands out as a strategic location for franchisees and national chains. Dynamic and youthful demographics, down to a median age of 37 and notable concentration of approximately 8,000 residents in their 20s. Daytime population swells to 58,000, bringing in influence. And then down from there, it's a renter-based community and disposable income. So this is a quick snapshot for you of some of that information that you can send out to people of, hey, I'm thinking about this area, what do you think? The social media card I find really interesting. So what it will do is it'll pull in your profile information and just make sure that you have like a photo as well as your brokerage logo in there. You go to select background, and based on that, you can choose sites, workplace, or backdrop. Let's go with workplace, right? And from in here, it will give you a quick snapshot of your daytime population density, your average household income, unemployment rate, and median home value. And this is something that if you just hit share with a caption, it'll generate captions for you. If you don't like that one, there are 4 other options. If you still don't like that, you can have it regenerated. And 2, when you go to post this, of course, you can always change the language to make it sound as you. You hit save and share. It is as simple as download to go ahead and post. From within our system, you can post anything to Facebook, X, or LinkedIn. Instagram is the only one where you have to download it as an image and then post it separately. So you'll download the image, copy the text itself, and share it outside the platform. But the rest of them are pretty much 1, 2, 3 buttons, and you've got something out into social media for you. Now, the other one is a QR code. So let's say that you are going out and speaking to a group of people, and people are wondering, oh, what's this area like? You can have a QR code that you can kind of print out or have at your table or something, and they will be able to get the same information through that. Now, one thing is with the media library, similar to what I was mentioning about the mobile versus desktop, is let's say that you do this on your desktop and you're then out in the field, right? Everything that you save on your desktop and mobile, vice versa, will save either way. And so let's say you're here, you're doing some work, and you start going on the go. Oh man, I forgot to post that, or I forgot to send that. It is all going to be saved in your media library within the mobile app.
What are the report sections? Is it always zip code related? Can it be city? It can't go any narrower than zip code, though, right?
Zip code, neighborhood, census tract, and I believe that those are going to be the furthest you can drill down with it. Good question, thank you. So that is a little bit about the AI. Now, if you, let's say we were to change it to be landlords and property owners, and I'll go friendly, go to let's do a client email, generate some content, and right here, I've been tracking this for landlords and property owners like yourself. A little bit change in language, so that way you are hitting the audience correctly. But different ways to kind of slice and dice the data and make it as applicable to your audience as possible. All right. So that is the AI scriptwriter within commercial trade area. Do I got questions on that? This will be saved for up to 2 years. Yep. So if it's done through a dynamic link, that is 1 year, but the data saves in RPR whenever you do searches and things for up to 2 years. Great question.
So if you're a commercial broker, you access RPR now?
Different ways to do it.
I don't have MLS.
You don't have MLS. CCIM. No, CIE. You,
Yeah,
CIE login? No.
I have access to CIE, yeah, but that's how I log into RPR.
Yes.
Same password and all.
We have deep links through the platforms, and so when you log in, you'll see a little tile for RPR, and once you click in that, it'll take you straight to our site.
Have a tile for RPR.
Correct, as well as in Moody's. Now, alternatively, you could go in here, just look up narrpr.com, and you could put in your email and your own password. If you don't know the password because it's through a deep link, you can hit reset password, it'll send it to you, and then you can just log in using a login, not having to go through a platform that way.
So if you do a general search, it searches all those platforms. Is there a way to click through all those properties and have a map and those properties, a link that you can send to your client?
Yes. So I pulled 2 properties up from this area that I really liked because it had great data. So specifically this one, I loved how it brought in so much tenant data. Now, from a specific subject property, you'll find obviously your basic facts of year built. Days in RPR is what we call days on market. Because each of the different platforms categorize it a little bit differently, days in RPR is how we call it. You've got the tax IDs, as well as the current zoning, tenant count, description. Now, in the notes, I do want to call out that the notes are specifically internal notes. So if you were to go in here and add something about this, and then created a report or sent it to your client, it would include those notes. But if another practitioner was clicking on the same property, they're not going to see your notes. And those notes also stay for up to 2 years internally. Now, as we scroll a little bit down, you'll find the public facts versus the listing facts. If you ever find any sort of discrepancies, you can alter them within your changes. As I mentioned a little bit earlier was Valuate, which is where you can pull spreadsheets for investors. If you were to decide to change rent, add a tenant, things like that. There's a quick link that will take you to Valuate. You won't have to re-log in, and it will pull in this specific property, and you keep rolling from there, as well as all of these other sites. Now, what I thought was cool about this one is this is listed in multiple places. So this is listed in Brevitas as well as Crexi. And what you'll be able to see is you can toggle between the 2 listings and see if there's any sort of different information that one person who entered it in provided versus another. Now that's kind of another example as to us being able to pull in all this data into one place. You're not having to go through 3 different platforms to see the same property. If somebody did something different, it'll show you all in one. And then 2 is going to be all of the tenant data. So within here, there are 18 tenants. It will show you all of their information, when they started, the type of business, and the move-in date is going to be available if the person who entered the listing had put it in. So, you know, kind of like any MLS, the data is as good as whoever entered it type of thing. There will be some properties where you'll see the full thing filled out, and then, you know, like something for like this does not have the move-in date for this specific property, but you'll be able to get that if it's entered into any of those platforms. Got your legal description and plat maps, listing history, public record history, and then what I will go to is the map location. So from here, you've got many ways to find different information. So we've got being able to draw a radius around it or a boundary. You've got driving information for points of interest as well as traffic counts, school data, and then if you go down to data layers, that's where you'll find the flood map information through flood zones. But I'm going to specifically go to the traffic counts. So in here, pull up traffic, and I'm going to hit apply. What this will do, and I'll do a little zoom out, is this will tell me in this area by legend, where are people driving, what's the volume, what's the visibility like. And now this is done specifically from a singular property itself. I will show you a little bit in a second of how you can create a template for traffic counts alone. It is not something that we have created natively in the platform yet. However, it is set to be rolled out by August of this year. So I'll show you a little something to get you there in the meantime. But it is something that we are actively working on. So in here, you've got the traffic count data. And then as you go into data layers, you can add in demographic information as well as real estate indications to show you on the map what does that area specifically look like. Now, similar to when we looked at the trade area by zip code, when you're looking on a specific property, you can hit trade area, and it will instantly pull up, based on that property, the closest trade area information to the subject property. So you can either do it by going to commercial trade area through the research tab, or you can find it based on a certain property that you're looking at. Now, something kind of a little bit that I've mentioned a little bit with the broker tools is when you enroll in broker tools, all these affiliate services will show up as people who you work with that you have designated that you work with. Now, something to note, RPR does not have ads. You're not being inundated by other junk information. The information in here is very much blocked out by the rest of the internet. So you're not going to find stuff popping up all the time. So what I will do is then go into commercial trade areas. You said 297470, right? Nope. What was that zip code again? 27407. Perfect. So within here, you can go to trade area template. Let's say I specifically want to look at traffic counts. The default is going to be 5 counts. It's great, but I think 20 is a little bit better. So I'm going to add into 20. And then from here, what I will do is hit save and save as template. Now, you can, of course, this has 21 pages of information so far. Let's say that you really only want to know the traffic count information. What you can do is go through here and deselect some of these other pages of information to make it just be the traffic count information, and then hit save. We're down to 8 pages, and you'll see just the traffic count. You'll hit save and save as template. So that way, when you go to create a report, you'll see My Templates. You'll have it saved as traffic counts, and there you go. There's your traffic count template for there. Now, the last thing that I'd love to show is the commercial site selection. So in here, let's see if it loads for a second. The commercial site selection brings in information, especially on those opportunity zones, the who, what, why, when, where, and you can filter it down to specific things that you're looking for. So most recently, I was actually working on something that I wanted to see of a certain demographic, medical resources, and where they're purchasing them. So that way, I could find a property in that area, so I'm not going out into an area that they're not typically finding things for. Use this commercial site selection tool to find that information. All right. Greensboro. All right, so for this one, let's go, we got who they are, what they do, where they live, what they buy, facts and stats. We'll go with what they buy. And for that same example, I'm going to go healthcare and specifically medical supplies and equipment. So what you can do is you can add more criteria to make it a multi-layered map, or you can specifically have one if that's the only thing that you're looking for. We'll go run analysis. And what this will do is show you a heat map of the areas that you're looking for based on what you prompted it into. All right. So down in here, it's going with intermediate neighborhoods. You can change it to zip code. You can change it to census block groups or those opportunity zones that I mentioned a little bit before. Now through this, let's dig in a little bit deeper. And specifically here in this specific part, Country Park Acres, there's a spend of $335 a month in medical supplies and equipment in that area. Now, as you go a little bit further, you can change little to least. If you want to be, all right, I only want to know not just in general what it's like, but the heaviest use of it. Do a little back up here. And it hones it in even more to find that information. So specifically, right up here and there is where the most money on medical supplies and equipment is being spent in the Greensboro area. Now, that was just one example. As I go back, this data is coming from Esri, as well as the U.S. Census Bureau, and one other partner that is slipping my name, but they were on this slide up there. Calibrate, I believe. So it's pulling in from different places and giving you this information. Now let's go, what do they do? Industry and employment, and I know that this area is big in healthcare and tech. And again, gives you your heat map of where things are. Now, opportunity zones, if I change that, great tax benefits, capital gains, all the things. If I change it back to the intermediate neighborhoods, I see there's a good concentration up here and specifically in that area. Now, over to opportunity zones, I see this area right here, not too far away from it, would be a great area possibly for healthcare and information to possibly steer somebody in that area based on tax incentives, knowing that there are people buying and working in the healthcare and information sector in that area. So a little bit about the commercial site selection information. Any questions on that? All right. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So where does that go from? And the reason I'm asking is, I got a research piece of land, and I finally got there. If you could tell me who the traffic cam was. Of course, I couldn't do it, but it said that the latest was done in 2023, I think it was, or maybe 24. So how accurate is the traffic count?
So we get our traffic count information through Calibrate, which was that other one that I was mentioning. And Calibrate we get monthly. So each of these reports that you pull get updated typically by the 5th of the month. I asked them just recently to put a date on the reports as to when the last data was created. That is something that they're going to do for us. But it is updated once a month through our partnership with Calibrate. Yeah, great question.
So they're actually more up to date than the DOT or from what?
You know, different people can get different information different ways. So we're great to have this partnership. They're nice and up to date. Now, I went through kind of a bit of this somewhat quickly. Is there any parts of the system that anybody would like for me to either look back over, have a question about, dig a little bit deeper into? Happy to look at that.
Can you get historical maps, overlays?
Historical map overlays. I don't believe so, because it is frequently updated and overridden. But what I would suggest in that case is pulling them frequently to be able to reference back. Good question.
Show what it looks like just to see the listings that are aggregated together.
Meaning like when you're on a subject property and seeing where it's multiple.
Just like you were saying that you guys pull in for sale and for lease listings from a bunch of places.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show us what it looks like to see properties for lease?
So, for example, the back-end data won't be able to see, but from here on this little side card, you'll see that this one is pulled in from a CIE, this is pulled in from CREXI. And what you can do is toggle back and forth between them to see where it's coming from in the information. Now, if I go right here, this will take me specifically to the listing on Moody's. Now,
How do you search for listings within RPRs?
oh, sorry about that. From anywhere within the system, right here, you can either search a subject property, or you can go to Property Search, Greensboro. Here is this map. You can filter it to be for sale for lease. You can add public record data if you want to go straight historical. Change it by property type and subtype. Price, leasable square footage, if it's distressed or not, as well as time ownership of it, which typically we've used a little bit more on the residential side, but people, if you're own something for 10, 15 plus years, great kind of person to maybe reach out and see if they're looking for a move. I know commercial people hold things a little bit longer, but could be a good opportunity there. You can change the status type as well. This is pulled in from all of those different platforms, and we pretty much bucket them into your active, pending, hold, closed, and withdrawn. They have different language that they use, but in general, closed being closed, withdrawn, all the things. Let's say we were to go to map search instead. Let's do Greensboro. From within here, you can show different geographies and overlay the information on top of the maps to help you search for properties. Let's also go and add in traffic counts and
Is there a way to select like 3 of those properties to send to your client, like as a list?
so one thing with the traffic counts is I'll just go, I want to see the highest traffic count areas, right? And then either you can find it by list view, by card view, or by map view. And with these, let's say that this one, and this one are interesting. You can create a report or print it and send it to them. The one thing is that you cannot share the property listing straight from RPR because of that no consumer access. So it does have information in our system that is meant for licensed individuals to see only. But when you go to create a report, you can choose to omit certain things out of that for proprietary information, if you want to call it that. But what you would do is I would say create a report, send it to them. It will bucket it out by property. We'll have your traffic count by property. We'll have your demographic area by property. Let's do specifically this one. That was not a good example. Print, create, and then you'll go to RPR templates instead of trade area templates, because trade area is going to pull up that demographic data. If you do straight up RPR template, it'll pull the properties themselves. Good questions.
Do you guys work with Quantum integrate?
Does not integrate with outside AI platforms. However, we don't discriminate against. Specifically, I don't know if anybody knows Marky Lemons-Ryle, keynote speaker, fantastic, does some commercial stuff. She takes the commercial trade area information, throws it into, she actually likes Gemini instead, and will then take that information from us and send it out by downloading one of these reports or doing one of the one-page summary printouts for that.
And there is not a public-facing landing page or anything for, if I pull 10 properties and send them to the client.
There's not, no. Not a consumer-facing page, correct.
Can you show real quick how to do a residential property with RVM?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I switch to residential, I had a question in the back real quick.
Well, actually, kind of things I just want to verify. So you've toggled commercial here.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that you're putting in now is coming up commercial. If the toggle is red off of commercial, then everything you still do the searches like you were doing it, then but it'd be residential.
Correct. It's all the exact same use. It's just making sure that you're going into commercial specifically or residential specifically. So in IntelliSite, the one thing I don't know is how often they update the data. we have a specific licensing agreement with them that we get it monthly. It does vary based on their licensing agreements. I know that we have an interesting partnership with them. So, good question though. So if I were to just go back to the map and did Greensboro, and I'm on residential, all I did was change that flip of the toggle. You've got all this information. And something that I do like to point out is some of the information that you get from the commercial trade area can be very helpful in residential transactions as well, of understanding your consumers. Of course, use the data for good, not for evil, but it can be really good to understand different areas, who, what, why, when, where. And from here, we've got single family, condo, townhouse, mobile, manufactured, land, farm and ranch. And then from there, kind of the same thing of how you can filter it down that way. Update and search. And I have a very hefty guy here. Let's go 3-bedroom. And search.
Can you just pull it up and show them the RVM and let it click?
Yes.
So I think that's the best feature for residential, so it's their comp.
So right here, you'll find the list price and then the RVM. And the RVM is explained using this. But basically, it is taking in MLS information. It's off-market, historical data, as well as on-market. And then something that I do like to point out is the confidence score. Typically, anything of a score of 4 and above will be very, very close. Sometimes, if it is lower, or the RVM is just really off, there might just not be enough data in that area to be able to supplement a number satisfactory to the listing that is there. Kind of same thing, you've got your historical data, your property facts, interior, exterior, school data, and then up in here, which is market trends of buyer, seller's market, days on market, sold to list price, all those things specifically honed in based on that property, that subject property in the area that it is. So, awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. Amazing questions, really, really appreciate it. And I hope that you guys learned something new and can find some value out of RPR. Thank you guys.
Wants and needs, whatever we want to call it. Peter, I think you got some up here. Sorry. One thing with that, it was something that, for anybody who wasn't here last time, it's something we're bringing back where basically to tie in the networking again, letting you know, hey, I've got somebody who's looking for a 10 plus unit residential multifamily unit up to 2 million, something like that. And so, yeah, we've got one here. I think. Got it. Yeah. So this is Bill's listing here. If you got anybody for that, give him a shout. And then anything too that you have, anything for any of our upcoming meetings, there will be some stuff through the registration. We weren't able to get on there for this time, but you'll be able to put in there when you register for the meeting, and so we'll be able to get you get all your information in there as well. wraps that up. Just a quick reminder that anyone else, if you haven't done your CE yet, you are getting close to the dead date of June 10th. So there are only 2 CE courses through the GRRA remaining. So jump in those if you need them. Don't forget to pay your renewal fees with the Real Estate Commission. Those came out last Friday. And then that's all we got for now. So we will see you guys